Cryptocurrency wallets are essentially what you use to interact with the blockchain. Not unlike traditional wallets, they are also what you use to store your crypto coins and tokens. But unlike a traditional wallet, crypto wallets have two main components, or rather your identity on the blockchain has two main components. One is the public address and the other is the private key. Now, the public address can be in some sense compared to your physical address, in the sense that if someone wants to send you something on the blockchain, they need your public address as the destination address that they're sending to you. The private key, on the other hand, is what you use to sign transactions. This is, of course, as the name implies, private, and it is vital that it remains private. It is essentially what you use to create transactions, and in that sense, if someone got hold of that string of data that is the private key, they would instantly gain control over your funds and they could steal them. Overall, crypto wallets can be either custodial or non-custodial, and the non-custodial variant is also sometimes referred to as self-custodial. Now, custodial wallets are essentially third-party wallets. Custodial wallets are, for example, the wallets that you have on a cryptocurrency exchange. Now, with this type of wallet, you have login credentials, which means you have your email and your password, as well as your 2FA method for accessing your funds. But the crypto coins and tokens that you own are essentially owned by the exchange, in the sense that the exchange is the one that has the private keys to those wallets. So even though you have access and you can of course withdraw it to any other wallet, the private keys are held by the exchange, which means that in the case the exchange is hacked and the funds are stolen, it is of course not guaranteed that you'll be able to get them back. Non-custodial wallets are wallets where you own your own private key, and here there are two main types: software and hardware wallets. With non-custodial wallets, your private key is stored on your device, which can be your computer or your mobile phone. Now, these wallets are relatively safe, but they're only as safe as the device that they are used on. So that means if your computer or phone gets compromised, so if you get some malware that could grab the private key from your device, then of course you could lose your funds. So this means the safest option is using a hardware wallet. This is a small physical device, which is somewhat similar to a USB key in size. And the way it works is that it has the private key hard-coded into the chip of the device. This means that the private key never leaves your hardware wallet, and in that sense it can't be stolen. Now, regardless of which type of self-custodial wallet you use, one thing that all of them have is a seed phrase. In the case of hardware wallets, it's easy to see why they have that. Essentially, a seed phrase is a way for you to recover your funds if you ever lose your hardware wallet device, or if you lose access to the computer or phone that has your software wallet on it. So a seed phrase basically can give you access to your funds even if you lose everything else, and by the same token it can also give anyone else access to your funds, which is why it's extremely important to keep it in a very safe location. Practically speaking, a seed phrase is simply a sequence of 12 or 24 words. These are completely random words, and this is basically a user-friendly way of encoding your private key. When you're setting up a wallet, whether it's a hardware or software wallet, you will be shown the seed phrase. Now, it is extremely important for you to write that seed phrase down, and preferably to do so on paper, because of course electronic devices, especially if they're connected to the internet, can be compromised, whereas if you write it on a piece of paper, then there is a layer of physical security, because there's no way for someone to hijack your seed phrase without actually obtaining the piece of paper that it's written on. Then when you have it written down on a piece of paper, you need to store it somewhere extremely safe, and preferably to store couple of copies at least, just in case something happens to one of them, seeing that paper, of course, isn't the most physically robust material out there. Now, provided that you're careful with your seed phrase and also, of course, with the types of wallets that you use, whether they are software or hardware, doing this can offer you a level of security that is absolutely unprecedented and that is completely impossible in any other aspect of finance. Unlike traditional finance, where you have to rely on institutions, banks, and indeed the government to make sure that your savings don't become worthless or simply stolen, with crypto, you can take control of this security and you can really completely have ownership of your assets.